I was sitting in the doctor's waiting room, surrounded by the sterile hum of fluorescent lights and the faint scent of antiseptic when my phone rang. It was my only daughter, Angela. Her voice cut through the line like ice, cold, detached, as if she were reading from a script. "Mom, we're going on a trip to Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and your car. We needed the money. Bye." And just like that, she hung up. 45 years of raising her, sacrificing everything for her dreams, and she discarded me like yesterday's trash. But as the shock settled in, I took a deep breath and smiled, because there was something my dear daughter didn't know, a secret that would turn her betrayal into the greatest lesson of her life. My name is Antonia Brooks. I'm 71 years old, and until that moment, I thought I knew my daughter inside and out. I'd become a widow just 6 months earlier. My husband, Robert, had passed away from a sudden heart attack while we were eating breakfast, just as we had done every morning for 45 years. That fateful day, he served me coffee with cream and toast, kissed my forehead gently, and whispered, "Good morning, my love." Those were his last words. The memory still lingers, like the warmth of that coffee steam, a bittersweet echo in my quiet home. Since Robert's death, Angela had been more present in my life, or so I believed. She visited 3 times a week, helped with the funeral arrangements, and even accompanied me to the grocery store. "Mom, you need to take better care of yourself now that you're alone," she'd say with that smile I once thought was pure love. But now, replaying her cold phone call in my mind, I realized it was all for convenience. A mask of affection, hiding something far more calculated. The beach house she sold. It had been our family sanctuary for decades. Robert and I bought it when Angela was just 15, scraping together every penny from years of hard work and quiet sacrifices. Every summer we'd escape there, building memories that felt eternal. Celebrating birthdays with homemade cake on the porch, Christmases with twinkling lights reflecting off the ocean waves. Angela brought her boyfriends there as a teenager, and then her husband, Edward. I'd cook for everyone, grill fish fresh from the sea, salads from the garden I attended, clean the sandy floors, and wash the linen scented with salt air. It was our tradition, our shared heartbeat. I never imagined she'd reduce it to mere dollars, a quick cash grab for her own selfish escape. And the car, that old Ford pickup truck, Robert terraced like a child. He'd wash it every Sunday, the soapy water gleaming under the sun, change the oil with a religious precision, and always park it in the same shady spot under our oak tree. Angela knew what that truck meant to me. It was the last tangible piece of Robert. His scent still clung to the seeds of a faint mixture of aftershave and engine oil, a ghost of his presence. Selling it felt like raising him all over again. When she hung up, I sat there in that uncomfortable green plastic chair in the waiting room, surrounded by strangers coughing and flipping through outdated magazines. For the first time in months, I didn't cry. Instead, a strange calm washed over me, like the first deep breath after a storm. Because in that moment, something clicked. A memory I'd buried under layers of grief. 3 days before Robert died, he handed me a manila envelope, his hands steady, but his eyes serious. "Antonia, put this in the drawer of your dresser. If something happens to me, open it after a while, but only when you feel ready." I tucked it without a second thought, overwhelmed with funeral plans and a fog of loss. But now it called to me like a lifeline, waiting patiently at home. The nurse called my name, pulling me from my reverie. The doctor examined me, his stethoscope cold against my skin, and pronounced me in good health for my age. "Just rest more and eat better," he advised. I nodded and smiled politely, but my mind was miles away, racing towards that envelope, replaying Angela's icy words and suspecting Edward's hand in all of it. He never liked me. Always saw me as a nuisance, as his eyes rolling at my outdated ways. As I left the office and walked slowly to the bus stop, after all, I no longer had a car, according to Angela's, I couldn't help but smile. There was poetry in this betrayal. My daughter thought she'd stripped me bare, left me with nothing, but Robert, my dear, foresightful Robert, had always been one step ahead. The bus arrived, its doors hissing open like a sigh. I sat by the window, watching the city blur by, rows of houses, neatly trimmed lawn, bustling stores with neon signs that come to life, people hurrying along sidewalks, each carrying their own hidden tragedies and secrets. I had mine now, and I was about to uncover them. The ride, though endless, the engine's rumble mirroring the storm building inside me. Not rage, but a quiet resolve. When I finally got home, the house greeted me with its familiar shadows, the kind that no longer frightened me, but felt like old friends. I went straight to my room, the floorboards creaking underfoot, and opened the dresser drawer. There it was, the manila envelope, untouched. Robert's neat handwriting spelling out my name on the front. My hands trembled slightly as I picked it up, feeling the weight of papers inside. I sat on the bed we shared for so many years, the quilt still carrying the faint imprint of his side. Outside, dusk was falling, painting the room in soft grays and golds. I took a deep breath, the air thick with lavender from the sachet as I had placed in the drawer, and opened it slowly, like unwrapping a long-forgotten birthday gift. What I find inside stole my breath. Legal documents, deeds, bank certificates, and a handwritten letter from Robert. My eyes filled with tears as I tasted his familiar script, each looping curve a piece of him. My dear Antonia, if you are reading this, it means I'm no longer with you. Forgive me for not telling you everything while I was alive, but I wanted to protect you from worries. Over the years, we invested our savings in properties and businesses. We don't just have the beach house. We have 6 other properties, including a part of it where Andrew and Edward live.
We also have shares in 3 companies that are worth more than you can imagine. You are rich, my love. You always were rich. The night you were on paper, too. My hands trembled as I sent you through the documents. These houses in quiet city neighborhoods, a sleek downtown condo, a small motel on the coast, with views of crashing waves. And yes, the 20-story apartment building where my daughter lived. Robert had been the silent owner for the past 10 years, all hidden under a company name I didn't recognize. And according to these papers, I was the sole heir. Bank statements revealed accounts I don't even know about.
What if the daughter who stole everything from you, your home, your memories, your last ties to your late husband, suddenly discovered she was the one left with nothing? That's the question that burned in my mind as I sat with Robert's secret document spread across the kitchen table, the morning light filtering through the curtains like a spotlight on my newfound power. Angela had fled to Europe, thinking she'd outsmarted me, but I was about to orchestrate a lesson she'd never forget. Not through anger or lawsuits screamed in courtrooms, but through silence, strategy, and the slow unraveling of her illusions. This was my double life beginning. A poor widow on the surface, a wealthy architect of justice underneath. And it started with a single phone call. I called Mr. Peterson, the lawyer who'd handled Robert's affairs. He'd been at the funeral, offering condolences with a firm handshake and eyes full of quiet sympathy, telling me to reach out if I ever needed anything. Well, now I did. Mrs. Brooks, it's good to hear from you. How are you holding up? His voice was warm, professional, like polished wood. I'm doing well, Mr. Peterson, but I need to see you urgently. I found some documents from Robert that I don't quite understand. Of course, he replied without hesitation. Come to my office tomorrow morning. I'll clear my schedule. That night, for the first time in months, I slept soundly, the weight of grief lifting like fog burning off at dawn. I dreamed of Robert sitting in his favorite armchair, newspaper in hand, just as he did every morning. He looked up and smiled that knowing smile of his and said, "It's about time, my love. It's about time you stood up for yourself." I woke with a strange new feeling. Not happiness exactly, but determination. Sharp and clear as a freshly sharpened blade. For the first time since Robert's death, I had a purpose beyond survival. I was gonna reclaim what was mine, but on my terms, in a way that would teach Angela the true cost of her betrayal. The next morning, I dressed with care, slipping into my wine-colored dress, the one Robert always said made me look elegant, its fabric soft against my skin like a gentle embrace. I fixed my hair in a neat bun, applied a touch of makeup, and glanced in the mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the broken widow anymore. She was strong, ready. Mr. Peterson's office was downtown in an old building with marble floors that echoed my footsteps and large windows framing the bustling city below. He greeted me with a warm smile, but when I handed him the envelope, his expression shifted, eyes widening, brows furrowing in astonishment. "Mrs. Brooks, this is much, much more than I imagined. Robert was a very smart man. He leafed through the papers, the thinkers' trees and the deeds and statements. Look,
According to these, you are the owner of. I know, Mr. Peterson. I've already reviewed them. What I need is to understand what I can do legally. He explained everything in detail. The documents were ironclad. I was the rightful owner, and Angela's sale of the beach house was blatantly illegal. We can get the house back immediately, Mrs. Brooks, and we could even pursue legal action against your daughter for fraud. No, Mr. Peterson, I don't want to pursue legal action. I want to do this another way. I want everything to remain a secret for now. Can you help me? He looked at me with curiosity, his pen hovering over his notepad, but he nodded. Of course, you're my client. What do you need? I need you to discreetly recover the beach house, nullify that flagrant sale, and help me gain real control of all my properties, especially the building where my daughter lives. I understand, he said, jotting notes. It'll take a few weeks, but it's feasible, and no one will know you're behind it, at least for now. When I left his office, the downtown streets buzzed with life. People rushing to meetings, vendors hawking coffee from steaming carts, the air alive of car horns and chatter. But for me, everything had shifted. I walked with purpose, feeling the sun on my face like a promise. The following weeks were the strangest of my life. On the surface, I played the role of the poor abandoned widow, waking early to breakfast at the table Robert and I shared, going for neighborhood walks where the air smelled of fresh cut grass and baking bread. Neighbors greeted me with pity and smiles, their voices sauced with concern. Aurora, my lifelong friend next door, approached one afternoon as I watered the plants, the hose spraying a fine mist that sparkled in the light. Antonia, dear, is it true Aunt who went to Europe and left you all alone? Yes, Aurora, I replied, keeping my tone weary but composed. She went with Edward for some business plans. And how you gonna live, sweetie? We all know Robert didn't leave much. Only if she knew, I thought, suppressing a smile. Don't worry, Roar, I'll be fine. She offered food, help with groceries, her eyes full of that familiar mix of compassion and relief that it wasn't her tragedy. These conversations repeated like a script. The butcher with his apron stained red, the baker dusting flour from his hands, the lady at the corner store with her sympathetic nods. I nod, smile, thank them, all while secretly reveling in the performance. It was exhilarating, this double life. The unfortunate widow by day, the orchestrator of quiet justice afternoon. Mr. Peterson worked like a shadow, calling with updates every few days. One Wednesday morning, his voice crackled off the line. Miss Dress, good news. I nullified the sale of the beach house. The buyers were innocent, so they got their money back without fuss. It's yours again. Excellent, I said, sipping coffee that tasted sweeter with victory. And the apartment building? More complicated, but we're making administrative changes for your direct control. Another 2 weeks. Perfect. After hanging up, I thought of Angela in Europe. 3 weeks in and not a word from her. No call, no message, not even a postcard. To her, I'd vanished the moment she pocketed the money. But that silence was about to shatter. I decided to visit the beach house, taking the bus along the familiar postal route Robert and I had traveled hundreds of times to feel the breeze seeping through the windows. The house stood as I remembered, small, cream-colored, with a porch overlooking the ocean's ribbon path. I sat on the curb across the street, watching waves foam against the sand, memories flooding back, and a leather child building sand castles.
Robert grilling fish while I prepared salad in the sunlit kitchen. An older gentleman emerged, spotted me. Are you okay, ma'am? Yes, thank you. Just remembering. I knew the former owners well. He shared how they'd been told I was very sick and needed a quick sale. I widened to respond. My heartache, not the money, but for how easily she'd fabricated my vulnerability. That night, I called Mr. Peterson again. I want Robert's truck back too. That'll be trickier. Angela used the power of attorney you signed after his death. Ah, yes, the paper she brought in my grief, claiming they were for funeral arrangements. I signed blindly, naive in my sorrow. Let's try anyway, proves deception. Over the next few weeks, my routine's a little fad. Morning is as a pitiful widow. Afternoon, studying Robert's empire, learning finance, discovering Edward's debts tangled with the apartment he didn't own. Mr. Peterson called on Friday. You've got total control now, and the truck recovered from a buyer who understood the situation. Now, one more thing. Send Angela an eviction notice. Silence. Are you sure, Mrs. Brooks, she's your daughter? Completely. She disregarded me. Now she'll learn his consequences. That afternoon, neighborhood gossip swirled. Edward in debt trouble, no real European business, just an escape. Angela would return soon, alone. Robert's mind was unfolding perfectly. As I sat on the porch that night, starving.
Imagine returning from a dream turned nightmare, only to find your world crumbling further, not from the man who betrayed you, but from an invisible hand pulling strings you never saw. That's the trap Angela walked into, oblivious that I, her poor abandoned mother, held the threads. Weeks of my silent orchestration had led to this, an eviction notice slipping under her door like a venomous snake, ready to strike. As rumors swirl of Edward's debts and lies, I knew her European escape was collapsing. She was coming home, broken, alone, and straight into the heart of my lesson. But would desperation crack her arrogance, or would it reveal the daughter I'd lost? The game was exhilarating, and I was about to see if my plan would break her or rebuild us. Mr. Peterson called early one morning, his voice crisp over the line like fresh peeper. Mrs. Brooks, your daughter just arrived in the country. She's at the airport, alone. Apparently, Edward stayed in Europe after a massive fight. I see, I replied, stirring my tea, the spoon clinking softly against the tap. Did you send the letter? Yes, she'll receive it tomorrow. I hung up, standing in the kitchen where sunlight streamed through the window, casting long shadows on the floor. A mix of nervousness and anticipation churned inside me, like the first drops of rain before a downpour. After weeks of planning in the shadows, the first real move was here. Angela was about to learn her mother wasn't the helpless victim she imagined. She arrived at her apartment that Tuesday night, or so Aurora informed me the next day, bursting into my house with the neighborhood's latest gossip, her eyes wide with excitement. Antonia, your daughter came back last night. I saw her go in with just one suitcase, looking terrible, pale, dark circles like she cried the whole flight. Alone, completely alone. And get this, the doorman asked for her keys, but she didn't have them. Had to get the superintendent to let her in with the emergency copy. Interesting. Edward must have kept the keys, fleeing like the coward he was. Or perhaps Angela had discovered his deceptions and bolted. Either way, my daughter was back, and her welcome home gift was en route. Mr. Peterson confirmed it that afternoon. The letter was delivered an hour ago. She received it in person. Perfect. How long did we give her? 30 days as per legal standards. He paused, concern creeping in. Are you sure about this, Mrs. Brooks? She's your daughter. Mr. Peterson, my daughter kicked me out of my own house with a 2 minutes own call. She sold my things without asking, treated me like garbage. Now she'll learn actions have consequences. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay awake, imagining Angela's face as she read the notice, confusion melting into disbelief, then panic. She'd think it a scam, a mistake, but verification would reveal the cold truth. The phone rang at 8 o'clock the next morning. Angela's voice was desperate, frayed at the edges like torn fabric. Mom, I need to talk to you urgently. Good morning, honey. How was Europe? I kept my tone light, sipping coffee steamed with the scent of vanilla. Mom, I don't have time for that. I received a strange letter and eviction notice saying I have to vacate in 30 days. It must be a mistake. Do you know anything? From home. A company called Roberts Investments, Inc. You know it? Robert's name, his secret company. Poetic justice. No, honey, I've never heard of it. Are you sure it's legitimate? That's what I want to find out. Mom, help me. Edward left me in Europe. You ran off with another woman, and now this. I don't understand what's happening. There it was. Confirmation of Edward's abandonment. The money likely squandered. Legal goals mounting. I'm so sorry, honey. Where are you now? In the apartment, but not long. Mom, can I come see you? I need to talk to someone. I have no one else. The irony twisted like a knife. After discarding me for him, she remembered her mother in her hour of need. Of course, honey, come whenever you want. I hung up and faced the mirror, practicing my role. The worried, resigned mother in a conservative gray dress, hair in a simple bun. Angela was exactly what she expected. A vulnerable widow, not the architect of her reckoning. She arrived an hour later, knocking tentatively. When I opened the door, her appearance shocked me. Thinner, eyes red-rimmed, expensive clothes wrinkled like forgotten laundry. She hesitated, as if to hug me, but stopped, maybe remembering her cruelty. Come in, honey. Coffee? Yes, please. We sat in the kitchen, the same table where I had poured over Robert's secrets weeks ago. Angela looked small, lost, like the child who'd once confessed school troubles here. Mom, I'm so sorry for how I left. I treated you badly. It's in the past, honey. No, it's not. I said horrible things, and now she broke. She spilled the tale. Edward's lies, no real business, just an escape from debts he racked up using the apartment as collateral, unaware it wasn't his. Banks were circling, and now the eviction. Mom, I don't know what to do. No money, no job, nowhere to live. Tears flowed, genuine desperation cracking her facade. My mother's heart softened momentarily. I wanted to console her, reveal everything. But I remembered her cold call, the ease at her dismissal. Did you talk to a lawyer? I can't afford one. We spent everything in Europe. Edward took the rest. So what now? Maybe I could stay with you, just until I find a job. There it was, the request I'd anticipated. After betraying me, she sought rescue from the poor widow she created. Of course, honey. This will always be your home. Surprise, lit her eyes. Really? After everything? You're my daughter. That never changes. She hugged me desperately like a drowning woman clefting driftwood. I hugged back, but with calculation. Strategy, not blind love. Angela moved in the next day, arriving with 2 suitcases and a cardboard box, all that remained of her lavished life. I watched her running back to her told room, humiliation etching her movements from luxury condo to childhood bedroom. Mom, I found this in the apartment, she said, holding her manila envelope. It was among Edward's things, had your name on it. My pulse quickened.
It was another of Robert's envelopes, smaller, newer. How strange. Inside, a short letter and a key. Antonia, if you're reading this after the main envelope, it means your daughter's in trouble. This key opens Zadiobugs 24/7 at the central bent. Something there can help you help her, but use it wisely. But they turn note level. Robert. Angela read over my shoulder, gasping. A safety box deposit? Dad had one? I had no idea. I lied smoothly. Maybe we should check it. Desperation gleamed in her eyes. Just maybe something valuable to help us. That night, we dined together for the first time in months. She cooked, the kitchen filling with the aroma of herbs and oak. She detailed Edward's betrayals, forged signatures, $100,000 plus in debts, and his disappearance. How could I be so stupid, Mom? I ruined your life, too. Sold your things for him. Love blinds her. We'll be okay. But inside, I noted her regret, still laced with self-pity. She hadn't learned fully. As Angela examined the jewelry, I flipped away to call Mr. Peterson. Investigate Edward, that's fully. Keep it secret. My plan, let her hit rock bottom, then save her, not with handouts, but hard-earned wisdom. The jewelry were a test, her struggles the forge. Would she break or emerge stronger?
What happens when the daughter who betrayed you finally shatters under the weight of her own choices, scraping the bottom of a barrel she dug herself? That's the painful beauty I witnessed as Angelica clung to the jewels like a lifeline, her eyes gleaming with desperate hope, unaware that I held the power to lift her out or let her sink deeper for her own good. Weeks of watching her unravel had tested my resolve, but this was the forge. Hardship molding regret into wisdom. Would she crumble under the cleaning rags and creditor calls, or rise with a humility she'd never known? As I poured a glass of Robert's special wine that night, savoring its rich, oaky warmth, I knew the game was at its deepest point. Rock bottom wasn't just her punishment. It was her salvation, and I was the silent guardian ensuring she learned every brutal lesson. Angela decided to sell most of the jewels, keeping only Robert's engagement ring to me and her grandmother's necklace, their gems catching the kitchen light like captured stars. I watched her prepare, researching prices online, the glow of the screen illuminating her tired face, negotiating with jewelers over the phone, her voice haggling with a sharpness born of necessity. It was agonizing to see family heirlooms reduced to spreadsheets and cash, decades of love traded for survival. Mom, I got $180,000. She counted the bills on the table with a faint rustle of paper and a scent of fresh ink. Less than expected, but enough for the urgent debts. Are you sure, honey? Once sold, they're gone. No choice. If I don't pay, they'll seize everything, maybe even this house. The irony twisted like a vine. Angelica fretting over losing a home I secretly owned, using Robert's treasures to pay debts from the man who would have abandoned her. She consulted a free bank advisor, prioritizing collateral-backed loans, her note scattered like fallen leaves. In these weeks, she matured visibly. The woman who'd sold my bead jewels without a thought now scrutinized every decision, suffering fortune responsibility from fragility. That night, as she organized dead documents under the warm kitchen lamp, Mr. Peterson called. Mrs. Brooks, Edward owes over $200,000 on banks and private lenders. He forged Angina's signature. She's legally liable, but we can prove fraud. Prepare documents to free her, but say nothing yet. No false hope. When I hung up, Angela looked lost, staring at the jewels with fed eyes. What are you thinking, honey? About Dad. How disappointed he'd be. I ruined everything he built. People make mistakes. The important thing is learning from them. Her voice cracked with genuine regret, not just for consequences, but moral failure. She was ready, but not quite at bottom yet. The next days were crucial. Angela stretched every dollar, buying discounted groceries, the French humming with meager meals of rice and canned beans, negotiating with creditors over crackling phone lines. Her pleas echoed in the quiet house. She went to job interviews, returning with swollen feet and feet in her posture. She was sent home due to legal issues. The third offered part-time office cleaning at night. Will you take it? I have to. It's something. Seeing my once comfortable daughter prepared for manual labor broke my heart. But pride flickered too. She was facing reality without handouts. One evening, while Angela worked through her shift, Aurora visited. Her knock soft as we sat with TC and mismatched mugs, family photos watching from the walls. Antonia, did you know Angelica's back in such a state? From arrogant traveler to cleaner, life's turns. Yes, but she's sick right now. Humble. Aurora's perceptive eyes narrowed. You forgiven her after everything? She's my daughter. Not every mother would, but maybe she needed to value you as the strong woman you are, not just a rescuer. Aurora nailed it. That was my plan's core. Earning respect through trial, not desperation. When Angelica returned that night, exhaustion lent her faith, but a new dignity shone. Earned him scrubbing floors under fluorescent lights, the scent of bleach leaned toward clothes. Mrs. Johnson said it spelled independence. Wise one. She asked if I'm here from no opportunities or ruined ones. I told the truth. I had everything. A loving family, stable home, and squandered it for a worthless man. Angelica said, pouring water with a tired sigh. These weeks have been the hardest, most important. I get what matters now, not luxury, but people who love you unconditionally. You have every right to hate me. I abandoned you. It's a delicacy. You forgave me long ago. Can you forgive yourself? Not until I prove I've changed, with actions and words. Mr. Peterson's thick, cold progress. We located Edward in Paris. Big marriage to residency. Evidence of delivery fraud, and Angelica can stip the debts legally. It'll take 3 weeks. Start immediately. Keep it secret. Lying grew easier. My double on a comfortable mask. Compassionate mother. My day. Strategic stay here. My night. I watch your routine. Mornings, job hunting in orange shoes. Afternoons, budgeting with furrowed brows. Nights cleaning, returning with stories of camaraderie among the workers. Mrs. Johnson says there are 2 types. Those without chances and those wasted them. I'm the latter, but at least I know why. Her humility deepened, using earnings to help a coworker with daycare, her hands callous but eyes brighter. Aurora noted it. Angelica's grateful now, treating it with respect, not orders. One night, Angelica said, I'm keeping the job, Mom, not as punishment, but you remember who I was and what to be. I can't take your love for granted anymore. Pride swelled as our friend had spoken her into someone wiser, more compassionate. Yet my heart ached, seeing her cry over bills, the house quiet, savor a mouth of snaps. Every tear tested me. Should I reveal everything? But no. Premature rescue would undo the lesson. Angela needed to value effort, dignity from work, not inheritance. As weeks passed, Angelica changes solidified. Studying social work pamphlets, vowing to help others, treating our home as a partnership, contributing to expenses with her meager pay.
I want our relationship as equals. Two women who choose each other. Mr. Peterson's call. The process is almost done. Angelica is free from debts. It was time. Organize a meeting. It's time Shell knows the truth. I told Angelica we'd see a lawyer. Her issues, her nerves were palpable in the car ride, hands twisting and all that. The pieces were aligning. Rock bottom had forged her its strength, but with the truth shatter or heal less.
After weeks of orchestrated silence, hidden fortunes, and watching my daughter scrape rock bottom only to claw her way toward humility, the moment of truth arrived not as a vengeful hammer, but as a mirror reflecting her choices back at her. In Mr. Peterson's office, with documents stacked like evidence in a trial of the heart, Angela would finally see the empire Robert built, the control I'd wielded in shadows, and the love that let her suffer to save her soul. Would she shatter under the weight of my deception, or embrace the lesson as the gift it was? As we stepped into that marble floor building, the air thick with the scent of polished wood and impending change, I knew this revelation would either forge our bond unbreakable or sever it forever. The game ended here, but a new chapter of justice, not revenge, was about to begin. We arrived at Mr. Peterson's office on time that Friday morning. The downtown streets alive with the hum of traffic and distant sirens. Angela had dressed in her best clothes, now loose on her slimmer frame, her hands ringing like knotted ropes as we entered. She was a bundle of nerves. She expected more bad news in her endless storm. Mr. Peterson greeted us with his professional smile, the room smelling of fresh coffee and leather-bound books. Miss Brooks, thank you for coming. Thank you for seeing us, Angela replied, her voice small. But I should warn you, my finances are a mess. I can't afford high fees. That's what we're here to discuss, he said, exchanging a knowing glance with me. First, review these documents. He handed her a thick folder. Angela opened it, her brow furrowing as she read, confusion giving way to surprise. I don't understand. These say Edward forged my signature, evidence of fraud, that I'm not responsible for the deaths. Correct, Mr. Peterson confirmed. We've investigated for weeks and found proof you were a victim. But how? Who paid for this? Her eyes darted to me. It was my cue. Angela, there's something I need to tell you. What, Mom? I took a deep breath, the weight of weeks lifting like a nest. Your father left me more than you knew. Much more. Mr. Peterson slid over the second folder. Deeds, bank statements, investment certificates, the whole scope of Robert's secret empire. Angela read in stunned silence, her face cycling through emotions like flipping pages. Confusion, disbelief, shock, comprehension. Mom, this says I'm the owner of my apartment building and other properties, accounts, millions? Yes. You got the beach house back. The sale was fraudulent because it was yours. I already recovered it. She stared, piecing it together. How long have you known? Since your call from the doctor's office. You knew when I came back begging for help, when I cried every night, yes? A long, tense silence filled the room, broken only by the distant tick of a clock. Angela closed her folders, her eyes locking onto my, tears welling. Why, Mom, why let me suffer when you could have helped? This was the question I prepared for, the heart of my plan. Because you needed to learn what no words could teach, the value of what you'd lost, family, respect, responsibility. When you abandoned me, you didn't just take money, you stole dignity, love, trust. Tears streamed out her face, not self-pity, but deep understanding. I abandoned you when you needed me.
Mom, yes. You treat me like garbage, yes. And you save me anyway, yes. But by letting you hit rock bottom so you'd learn to save yourself. Mr. Peterson interjected softly. Your mother covered all legal costs to clear your debts and recover properties. You're free now. The cleaning job I had done. You can quit, but I hope you don't. It taught you the dignity of effort. Angela wiped her tears, her gaze shifting to respect a grown woman seeing another woman. Do you forgive me? I did a long ago. Can you forgive yourself? I don't know. I did unforgivable things. Mistakes happen. What matters is what we do after. He left us alone. The office quiet as we process. Mom, even without the money, I'd have learned the lesson. Nothing's more valuable than unconditional love. These weeks, your home kept me sane. That never changes, Angela. I know, but I will earn it daily with respect and actions. We left with a transformed relationship, no longer bound by blood alone, but chosen through fire. Angela kept her cleaning job, returning one afternoon to her uniform posture straight with earned pride. I need to finish what I started, not punishment, but remembrance. Aurora visit, whispering rumors of my hidden wealth. I confess the full story, Angela's betrayal, my plan, the weeks of suffering turned education. Brilliant and terrible. You let her suffer to teach true value. It hurt every day, but look at her now. Indeed, Angela used earnings to help co-worker, studied her social work, and treated our home as a partnership. I'll pay my share amount as equals who choose each other. 6 months later, balance reigned. Angela aced her studies, and we established a foundation for women facing violence and abandonment using my resources. The university accepted me for the master's, she announced one morning, envelope in hand, the kitchen, smelling of fresh coffee. I'll pay with my savings. Aurora marveled, why is his mother alive? That night, Angela shared a letter from Edward in French prison, regretting everything. I feel nothing. The resentment, that answer is gone. True love teaches you what you need, even if it hurts. You did that, Mom, not Edward's flattery, but your tough love. We visited the Reed house. The drive in Robert's recovered truck filled with salty air and silence. Inside, memories enveloped us. Robert porch, my garden, family photos. Angela apologized deeply. I reduced this to money. Forgive me. Her proposal, turn it into a shelter for women rebuilding their lives. Perfect. Share the sanctuary. Robert would approve. His generous spirit alive. That night, under stars like watchful souls, I whispered to Robert, we did it. Our daughter understands what mattered. Justice came as transformation. Our bond now unshakable. True wealth, not money, but love earned through lessons. Respect forged in fire.